Hello and welcome back to another Scout the Defender YouTube video. Now, the observant of you, either from the title or from behind me, have noticed that I've now fitted a drawer system to the back of Scout, and over the last previous videos you've seen me stripping out the back, getting ready for it, but I've not actually detailed what I have gone for. Well, I've managed to track down a Frontrunner drawer system, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I installed it, how I made a board across the top and upholstered it to ensure that everything fits really nicely and gets a real nice clean look that matches the rest of the Defender's interior. So stay tuned and be sure to give this video a like and a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, and subscribe for plenty more videos to come. Just before we get into today's video, the guys at ORE have sorted me out with a discount code for you guys to ensure that you get a discount on their products at checkout. I'll leave the discount code somewhere on screen and I'll also leave it in the description box below, but be sure to check those guys out. They've got some amazing products, most of which I've actually fitted to Scout, so also check out previous videos and be sure to use the discount code at checkout to get your discount. Right, on with today's video.
Now, a couple of videos ago I totally stripped out the rear of the Defender, removing the rear seats, pulling up all the carpets and soundproofing the whole rear tub, and I'll put a link to that video up on screen now. However, this was all getting ready for taking delivery of a drawer system. After scouring eBay for weeks, I finally stumbled across this drawer system. I love the Frontrunner products, but I couldn't afford to buy a new system, so when this one came up I had to jump on it. As you can see from the pictures, it needed a little tidying up, but it's solid and a perfect fit for the back of the Scout. So the plan was simple. After following a video from Expedition Rove on how to fit the Frontrunner drawer system, I moved on to boarding over the top. Now I'm going to keep the existing board that bolts into the drawer, but then add panels over the top. The first is a left-hand panel that will have a cutout for the fold-down seat mechanism. In the centre I've got the board that will mount directly through the existing board and into the drawer, and on the right hand side I've cut a panel for, again, the folding seat mechanism and also for the fuel filler cap.
What I'm going to be doing is cutting tabs out, so a tab out here so that the folding seat mechanism on the second row will slot in nicely and it will go around the bodywork. And on the right hand side panel I'm going to cut this tab out, obviously reversed, and also a similar tab out to go around the fuel tank, so I'll cut those out so the board should fit really nicely to the bodywork and ensure that I can still get to the folding seat mechanism. So to mount the boards into the back of the Defender, I'm going to be using the original seat bolt holes and also originally the seat bolts as well, to ensure that it's got a really neat fit. So what I'm going to do is route out a small circle to ensure that the bolt will sit flush, so it will still have the depth to screw into the bodywork through the soundproofing and obviously through the plywood. But then obviously if you run your hand over the board you won't feel the bolt, so I'm going to route out a hole so it will sit nice and flush, so you won't even know that the bolt's there. So there we have a nice hole routed out, and then we'll see that the bolt will obviously, once it's in, flip the other way, will sit nice and flush. So now I'll just drill the hole for the actual bolt, so just broaden that hole slightly so the bolt will drop through, and that's one piece kind of cut and done. So as I've been going along, I've been cutting or testing pieces as I go. So this is the right hand panel where it's got the notch cut out for that little piece there. It's also got the notch cut out for the fuel cap, so that fits really nice and snug now. It's perhaps actually a little bit too snug because obviously I'm going to carpet this, so I may have to think about taking a little bit off the sides, but really happy with how that fits. Here we are, the boards are now in. You'll see I've left, like, I made sure when I cut the boards that there was a little bit of wiggle room, because obviously when I upholster these it's going to make all of the sections slightly wider, so we might have small seams, but they are hopefully going to be just about right. I've got the countersunk screws in just to line it all up, checking all the bolts are again nicely flush so you won't really see those. The only thing I've got to think about now is, obviously I've got the old board sat on top of the new board, so I'm going to think about how I can kind of trim this, whether it's kind of another peak sheet of carpet over the top, or whether it's some kind of metal trim, so that will be all nice and neat and tidy. But you can see everywhere is kind of cut around the panels, cut at the back to ensure I can get to the drop down seat mechanism, and yeah, really happy with how that looks. So one thing I'm going to do is treat the wood. So I'm going to treat it with a sealant to ensure that if it gets damp or wet in the back of the cab, even though I'm going to seal up all of the joints, it's going to be as sealed as possible and protect the wood for a long period of time. So I'm going to take the wood back in and treat that wood now, and then I'll upholster that over the top.
Right, so I got all the plywood cut to size, and now I'm going to treat it with water seal. So obviously Defenders are known for leaking from time to time, so I want to ensure that the ply is as durable as possible. So I'm going to coat every piece in this Thompson's water seal. So I'll do a couple of coats to ensure that the wood's kind of locked in place, and it won't be too susceptible to any damp or any water that comes into the back of the car. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll be applying the carpet over the top.
So before I actually upholster the wood, what I'm doing on some of the panels is adding some extra foam. So this is left over from soundproofing the rear tub, and this is just going to give it a nice soft finish, but also raise up that centre section slightly so it will level off with the both side wheel arches, and it's going to give a really nice finish when I carpet over it as well. So I'm going to start just applying those panels to this board before I then re-drill out the holes through the foam, and then we're ready to start adding the stretch carpet over the top. Right, there we have the board with soundproofing foam over the top, ready now to pop out the holes, and then we'll start carpeting over the top.
This was actually my first attempt at doing some upholstery, so what I'm doing here is cutting about 1.5 inches of material all the way around the board to ensure that when I fold it up and over, I will get a really nice tight seam, and I'll have the excess left over to wrap round. Once the carpet's cut to size, I'm then using trim fix adhesive to secure the carpet to the ply. The next step is to cut the tabs, so you obviously don't want to just fold the carpet over, you want to cut tabs to ensure that you've got a nice seam on the corners. So here what I do is cut basically a tab the height or the depth of the plywood, and then from there I'll cut a 45-degree angle, which means that when I fold the carpet over, I'll get the nice tight seam on the corner of the ply, and then I can glue the rest of the tab to the back of the carpet to ensure it's really secure. Now it's time to glue down the tabs, so again using the trim fix adhesive, I'll spray the carpet and then I'll spray the plywood, and then slowly fold the carpet up and round the edge, ensuring as I'm going that I'm pulling the carpet really nice and tight to get a nice crisp edge on the carpet before I stick the tab all the way down.
Right, there we have the piece with the 1 inch kind of border all the way around with the 4-way stretch carpet, with the board on top just to test. Now I'm going to take that outside, spray glue the board to ensure that it gets as much adhesion as possible, and then I'll spray the carpet. Right, so now I have that panel all glued down. So now we're going to go around and work through the tabs. So cutting a square out of the corner first to ensure I don't get any overhang, and then I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle off both tabs, kind of like wrapping a present, to ensure then that there's no overlap on the back and it's a nice tidy job. So there we go, they're the 3 pieces fully upholstered. I didn't film too much because I was kind of learning as I was going to, but you'll see we've got the left-hand panel, which will just need the hole drilled out for the bolt. We've got the centre panel, which again will just need the hole punched through for the bolts to go into the drawer. And then the right-hand side one that again I just need to cut out for the bolt. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that went. I think it looks great and I'm really excited to get that back into the car. Right, so I've screwed the first upholstered panel in. I'm really happy with how that looks. So the screws just go through the original frame. I've obviously still got to tidy this up slightly, this bit of trim, but yeah, just a bit, scrub the rust off and a bit of black spray on that, but I'm just using that to pilot the holes so I can get the trim just right. So now I'm going to go and get the 2 other panels for either side, line them up, and hopefully it will all fit. But yeah, that looks great. So there we go, sides in 2, bolted through the original seat bolts, or seat belt bolts. Top on. I obviously need to just ensure that I'm going to paint these up, spray them black so they don't stick out as much, but there we go. Really happy with how that looks. I need to just go and have a vacuum around. But yeah, in general, really happy with the results of that. It's came out actually better than I thought. I'm also obviously going to paint up this trim, drill the pilot holes, and then clean all of that trim up. But in general, yeah, I'm really happy. Oh, Land Rover patch. Really happy with how that looks. Over the moon.
So I ummed and ahed a few times about which drawer system to go for, and I was thankful to find this one across eBay. But the Frontrunner drawer systems are great, they're just a touch expensive for my particular budget. The great thing about this one, although it's used, is it's got a locking mechanism, so I can lock anything that I guess particularly worried about being on show or stolen in the back, and it's bolted down into the car. It's got a real simple mechanism. If I just push the button, the lock comes out, and then I can pull the drawer out. Excuse some of the rubbish that I've thrown in there for now. But it's actually a real great drawer system. It's got enough depth but also enough length to ensure that I can fit as enough stuff as possible away nice and neatly. And then I can slide it back, lock it up, and it's a real nice neat storage system. Obviously with the carpet, again, I'm really happy with the final look. It's just cheap carpet because it'll probably get used and abused, but it gives a nice finish. Obviously I need to vacuum and clean it all out, but I'm really happy with just how the install went. So there we have it, that is the install of the Frontrunner drawer system with an upholstered board over the top. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for loads more content to come, and I'll see you in the next video.